Today, before I get started with the actual American Fact Finder demonstration, I just wanted to give you a background on some of the data that we have. Just a general kind of a background on using census data, the different types of data that we have. So I'll go ahead and show you. I'm going to talk about population estimates, which simply are just estimates of the number of people. And then I'm going to go in more detail about the American Community Survey, which is our main, our main survey. And then I'm going to talk about American Fact Finder, and then actually give a demonstration of American Fact Finder. Population estimates are we use the population base as we use the decennial census as the base. We add births, subtract deaths, and then we add migration, which we get from IRS and Medicare, to come up with a population estimate. We have them at the state, national, state, and county by age, sex, race, and Hispanic origin. We also have city and town. If you go lower, basically, than the county, you're just going to get population numbers. We also have housing unit estimates as well. Of course, part of my job is people will ask me, hey Tim, I need to know the number of different races in Cuyahoga. I could always say, hey, here's the ACS estimates, the American Community Survey, but I steer people towards the population estimates if they want that kind of data, just because they're more precise based on what goes into them than the ACS estimates would be. They have their own website. You can actually go into American Fact Finder, which I'll show you in a bit, and get the population estimates. But also they have some data sets on the population estimates website, and you can link there from census.gov. And I don't know if you could probably have a hard time seeing this. This is the population estimates by age and sex for Cuyahoga County. I just wanted to show you how they're laid out. You have all the different age groups on the left-hand side, and you've got them from April 2010 to 2015 by sex. This is actually, I wanted to show you, we have them by age, sex, race, and Hispanic origin. This is for Cuyahoga County. On the left side, you see it, the age groups. And then in the middle, you can see it by race and age. And this is actually from the Ohio Department of Development, which is our affiliate. It would have been a big, too big to fit on the screen. This is actually a little bit easier. Same thing. And finally, if you want to look at population estimates by change, estimates of component of resident population change, this is actually for Cuyahoga County. And it's showing that, you can see on the far right here, that Cuyahoga County lost almost 4,700 people and from July 14 to July 15. And most of that was due to, you can see on the far right, domestic migration. But it gives you the births, the deaths, and then international and domestic migration. And I wanted to show you this one just because, some people are interested in population projections. This is a Cuyahoga County population projections out to the year 2040 by age. Now, we did the 2010 census. We're already gearing up for the 2020 census. But basically the 2010 census was 10 questions, 10 minutes. We're not going to bother you much. Actually, the 2020, I think, is going to be, you can respond anywhere, anytime, on a tablet, different things like that. But if you want data for the decennial census, you're just going to get population data. So if you go down to like the census block, that's only going to be 2010 population data. American Community Survey data is from the block group up. And as I said, the American Community Survey, it's our biggest survey. It's in every single county in the United States. You get estimates down to the block group level. It has a sample of 3.5 million a year, and that's roughly 290,000 a month. And you know, for those of you who aren't aware of it, it is mailed to your address. And if you don't fill it out and send it back, they will send you a reminder card with another one. And the following month, if you have not done it, they will call you from one of our calling centers. Then, if you don't respond to the calls, the following month, they'll send someone to personally visit your house. So it has a very high, upwards of a 98% response rate. And it is mandatory. This is just to show you some of the content of the ACS. If you're wanting, you know, if you're looking for data from the American Community Survey, so you look at social, for instance. If you want to know how many grandparents are caregivers in Cleveland, you know, what languages do people speak at home? You know, what's their relationship status? How many veterans do we have? What's the status of the veterans? You know, how many veterans are in poverty? How many people in Cuyahoga County are disabled? Then you look at our economic data, the topics. You can look at how long does it take people to drive to work? When do they leave to work? How do they get to work? What's the median household income? And then we've got all sorts of housing data as well. You know, how many vacants are in Cuyahoga, let's say, or you know, how old are the homes? How many vehicles do they have available? How many people own? How many people rent? And now recently we've got computer. How many people have internet? When you use the American Community Survey data, it's important to know that it comes out now in 1 year and 5-year estimates. So you can use the 1 year if you have a population 65,000 or more. It used to have 3-year estimates, but we discontinued those after 2013. So, you know, for instance, if you're looking for data for census tracts, you would have to use the 5-year estimates. Some of the smaller counties, you're going to have to use the 5-year estimates. But if you had like Cuyahoga County and you wanted data and you had your choice of the 1 year or the 5-year, you know, then you've got to look at the 1 year is more current, of course, but the 5-year is going to be more precise. So, you know, because there's more data going into that 5-year estimate. So, you know, like I said, big population, do you want to be more current or do you want to be more precise? It's important to know when you compare geographies using the ACS, you know, whatever data you're using, you want to compare a 1 year to a 1 year, you know, 5-year to a 5-year. You don't want to compare a 1 year estimate to a 5-year estimate. It can be done, but it's not really that easy. So here, for instance, I just threw this together just to show you that I'm looking at percent of children in poverty, and I'm comparing Ohio, Cuyahoga, Cleveland, and I just chose, I used to actually live in 44111, so I just chose that zip code. And the point is, you can compare your neighborhood, your town. How does it compare to the city, to the county, to the state? And as you can see, Cleveland, children in poverty is upwards of 53%. And the other ones are kind of similar. Now, if you compare across time periods, you want to just be careful that the boundaries haven't changed. I get people calling me, saying, hey, something's wrong with trying to compare some census tracts in like Lakewood, Ohio. But lo and behold, they changed after, 10 years, making it a little bit more difficult to compare that area. Again, you want to use non-overlapping periods of time. And here's an example of I'm comparing ACS across time. I'm comparing the percent of population 65 years old and older in Akron. I'm using the 1 year and the 5 year. And notice that I'm using two non-overlapping 5-year periods, 2006-10 and 2011-15. And look how variable the 1 year can be, as in the 5 years more smooth. And recently, I guess within a year or so, we put a significance testing tool on our website. Some of the ACS estimates, when you're comparing, you can easily look at it and see that, the significance of it. But if you're ever, I know I think Cornell, I used to use different websites with significant testing tools, but now the Census Bureau has its own. Now, another thing that when you use the data, it's very important that I get plenty of people calling too. They want data from 1990, the 2000, the 2010, and then they want current data. And what they don't realize is 90, 2000 is going to be the decennial census. And from then on, the 2010, 11, 12, 13, that's going to be ACS. So they're going to be comparing decennial census data and ACS data, which is okay, but it depends on what you're doing, what topic. Like poverty, for instance. If you want to look at poverty from 2000 to 2010 to 2015, for any area, the Census Bureau, the decennial census gives income for the preceding calendar year. So if you look at income for an area in Census 2000, it's going to be for 1999 calendar year. The ACS has it from the preceding 12 months, from the time of interview. So there's a little bit of a difference there. It'll say compare, but compare with caution. And that's the whole point of the ACS website, the comparison guidance. It'll tell you on any topic whether you should compare or compare a caution or don't compare at all. I just put this up to show you geography. Like I said, we have data down to the census block group from the ACS. If you go lower than that, you just get decennial census data at the census block level. And just so you know, there's kind of a little bit of they do have like census tracts, roughly 4,000, the optimum population. Then you got block groups, they can kind of vary from 6 to 3,000. But you can get data for all zip codes, all school districts, all cities, places, towns, townships, census tracts.